So in all the years that I've been doing YouTube, no one has ever asked me what's in my guitar rack. So today I'm going to show you what's in my guitar rack. So before I begin, I just want to let you know that I subscribe to that guitarist economy philosophy where when times are good, I tend to buy a lot of guitars, and then when times are tight, I tend to sell a lot of guitars. Since I've been working from home and because I'm in school, I've streamlined my guitar collection quite a bit. I've just kind of kept it down to the bare essentials. I have a guitar for like every function that I need, especially when it comes to recording. With that said, I'm going to show you what's in my guitar rack 2022. Here we go. Okay, so my first guitar in my rack is this 2019 Fender Squier Jazz, I think it's the Affinity series, straight from Amazon. Jazz bass guitar. I like having a bass around. I'm not a bass player by trade, but I like having one for if I have to lay something down in the studio, I can go and grab something quickly. Or if I have an idea, I actually tend to demo out a lot on the bass guitar. Nothing fancy about it at all. It still has the original strings. I like them. Stock pickups. I added this Fender bridge plate. I just think it looks cool. And it actually covers a piece of rubber that I have under here for deadening. Let me show you, just one sec. Do that. Okay. It's gone. My rubber is gone. Ha, there it is. So this is just a piece of rubber that I cut from just a rubber tie that if I want to have the strings a little bit deader, if I find it's ringing out too much low-wise, I just take this and I feed it through the strings or I put it on top, and it just kind of adds just kind of deadens it just a little bit, just to make it a little bit more manageable. Not that in recordings I have bass ringing through that I don't want. So anyways, that's my 2019 Fender Affinity Jazz Bass. Or it's 2018, I don't pay attention to these things. So my next guitar is an acoustic that I have. It is a Yamaha FGX 412C VS. I bought this guitar, I must have been 21, 22. At the time I was doing a lot of like dual cover band projects, so I just wanted to get something that was affordable, that I can take on the road, that I'm not going to worry too much about it. And this guitar has been great. It doesn't owe me a thing. I've had it for over 20 years. Yeah, the pickups still work. You can see here I was on a gig and the battery kept on coming loose, so I just took some duct tape and it stayed like that for like a year. I just kept taping the battery, so now the finish is a little ruined. One day I'll clean it. Yeah, it's anyways, yeah, it's a good guitar. This is my YouTube Fender Tele rebuild. Quick story with this one. I got this body, somebody gave it to me years ago. It's just like a pile of junk. They just had a bunch of guitar parts, and in it was this like old Fender Squier. I don't even know, it might have been a Bullet or something like that, series guitar, and I thought it'd be cool to finish it. And I saw it, I started sanding it, and then I gave it to my brother-in-law to finish it, and it just ended up in a box, and it sat in this box for like maybe like 10 years or something. And anyways, my sister found it a couple years ago and she brought it to me and was like, do you want to do something with it? And I was like, heck yes I do. I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of it. So I sanded it down, painted it this red color, and I ordered some parts. I wanted to make it like as close to like a 60-62 Tele as possible. So I got the vintage Fender bridge. I got vintage pickups. They're the custom shop El Nico. I can't remember what they were. Yeah, they sound really cool. Tuners, maple neck, all that jazz. You can see on there's the fret. It does have like a bit of a weird resonance when I play, and that just is because it's probably like plywood and it's probably like dinged to crap. So yeah, but it's got character. I like it. I use it when I can. I haven't played out with it live or anything yet. I mean, part of that is also because of COVID, but it's definitely one that I do want to spend more time with. But anyways, that is my YouTube Tele. So my next guitar is probably my favorite out of the bunch. It is a reissue of a 70s thin line Tele. You've probably seen this one around quite a bit. They still make this, it's still in production, I believe. But what's cool about this guitar is that it was made in Japan. It's not a Mexican guitar. Nothing wrong with the Mexican Teles. They were great, but there's something really special about what was happening with Fender in Japan, especially in the early 90s. Like, I just loved all those guitars that were coming out at the time. So anyways, a little bit about this guitar. I've upgraded the frets to the jumbo frets. It had smaller frets to begin with. It's ready for probably a new fret soon. It's got the Fender classic kind of tuners that I love. Yeah, humbuckers. What else can I say? Semi-hollow, which is really nice. It adds a nice tone to the sound. This guitar, I think, has made it on all my shows, like tours. It has been with me in the studio since as long as I've been playing, and it makes it on all the recordings that I do. It's just one of those guitars that I know when I pick it up, I will be able to find a place for it, and it's gonna work. So, yeah, it's a really cool guitar. When I was 16, I saved up all my hard-earned money working at Zeller's, for those of you who know what Zeller's was. So anyways, I saved up all my money and I bought an Epiphone Riviera. And I really liked the guitar. It looked cool. It was one of those ones that still had the big humbuckers, not the mini humbuckers that they brought them back with. It was a really cool guitar, but it was really big on me. I wasn't a big kid, so I was struggling when I was playing with it. Like, I liked it, but yeah. Anyways, a friend of mine who owned this guitar really liked the Riviera, and so he asked to trade, and I did. And one of the best things I've ever done. No regrets. And even to this day, when I run into him, a common question is, would I ever sell this? And the answer is never. I'm probably gonna be buried with this thing. So anyways, that's my Thin Line Tele. Okay, so the next guitar that I have has many stories. It is a Les Paul Studio that I got, I think it's 95, maybe even older. Probably around that time, 95. Anyways, I got it in like 2004. There was a local store where I grew up called Archtop Music. The owner had the best payment plan. It literally was once a month, whatever you can throw me, which was great. His business didn't last too long, I don't think, but during that time that he was open, I got some really cool guitars. So yeah, I would just kind of gig, and whatever I got went to paying this off. So anyways, it's got the Gibson Deluxe, what are they, just like the Grover tuners. Over the years, I've had a few Gibsons, and I have to say this one probably holds the tuning the best. I don't have that G-string issue that you do hear about, especially like with SGs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a solid guitar. I did some modifications on it. I threw a Bigsby on it. I throw a Bigsby on anything that I can. I'm a fan of Bigsby's. I don't know why. I just love them. What else can I say? It's beat to shit. You can see that it's been pretty worn in, like around the neck, all the finish is coming off now and that. And oh, you can see on the back here, I don't know if you can see it, there's the headstock crack that Gibsons have been notorious, that Gibsons are known for now. So basically, I had this in my case, and I was on the road, it came back, and then I had to go to the studio, and I opened up the case, and the headstock went, and then freaked out, got it fixed. And then a couple years later, I was playing on stage, and I tripped, and I put the headstock in the ground, and same thing. So I just grabbed some white glue, some clamps, good as new, and it's been holding ever since. So yeah, it's a great guitar. Anyways, again, this is just a rad instrument. It's like, looks like a bite. I'm probably gonna bury it with this one too. I'm gonna have to get a big casket. Okay, and this brings me to my last guitar, which doesn't have any good stories. This was just one that I picked up. It's an old, it's not old at all. It is, I don't even know, it's a Mexican Stratocaster that I picked up for like 200 bucks off Kijiji. The guy sold it to me dirt cheap with a case. I have this on stock. I actually play this quite a bit, just like when I'm on the couch. It's one of the guitars that I just really like how it feels. Yeah, I think the only cool story is the guy was a chain smoker, and I think when I got home I just took the strings off and threw it in the bathtub and just soaked it up just to kind of get the cigarette smoke smell off. But yeah, it's a cool guitar. It's a Strat. When I was younger, I was never a big Stratocaster fan. I always liked Telecasters, but I think now that I'm getting older, I can see myself investing more into Stratocasters down the road. I do like them. I guess it's like Rush to me. When I was younger, I never liked Rush, but as I get older, I find myself really liking Rush. Anyways, I don't know. So yeah, that's my guitar collection right now. And I'm sure next year, 2023, maybe 2023, 24. But anyways, I'll do another What's in My Rack series, and it'll probably be very different because I'm like that when it comes to guitars. I can see myself getting a Gretsch down the road because that's not a guitar that I've had in the past. I've had a Ricky when I was younger. It wasn't anything crazy. It was like a prototype, but yeah. So anyways, if you found this entertaining, like and subscribe. You know. And the moral of this story is that guitars are fucking awesome. Take care, everyone.